Discretion is advised.
I have their boxes mixed up, guys, and I'm not even sad about it. I'll fix it while we're doing show, but yeah, their boxes, they're totally mixed up. Something happened. I don't know what's going on. I don't know that I care. We're gonna be okay because we are live. This is what happens when you have tech issues, because that stuff is real and it affects everyone. Happy Saturday. You're listening and or watching Pwnecast. This is episode 272. We are in patch 9.0.2, which is obviously Shadowlands, right? Tonight, we're going to be talking about basically like the first week of Shadowlands so far. It's not been a whole week though, right? It's been like I asked them knowing they can't hear or they can't speak because I muted them, but it's nice to do that anyway, just because I like to watch them try to talk. Anyway, we've got some tips and tricks coming from pretty much probably everyone here who's been through a good amount of content, which some of them, probably all of them, they're all extra, so they're probably like Mythic Plus and Mythic rating achievements already after the first week, because that's how these guys roll. I want to talk about some basic information that I had to go over and over and over a few times, and I felt like it would be a good time to give you guys that information. Talking about the calling, dealing with your covenant, reputation stuff, who's got the good mounts, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to kill you, Rem. I hate you. We have that and much, much more, so stay right here.
In 2014, a crack commando unit was banned from trade chat for comments they didn't make. These men and women promptly escaped from the Stormwind stockades to the Ironforge underground. Today, still hunted by the trolls of trade chat, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, then maybe you can hire the Pwnecast. Leader and brains of the operation, it's Belle.
I want tacos so bad.
Betrayer of the priestly order and huntard extraordinaire, it's Remedies.
I just went in there, and Hector is gonna be running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines.
Tanking it on the front lines with the threat of gingivitis, it's Brusif.
Trying to learn just how to floss for like the last 2 years, and I still can't.
With the Pwnecast team assembled, let the battle for Azeroth begin.
Hello, people of Podcast Land. This is Winstalin speaking, and Winstead from the Technically PvP podcast, and you are listening to the Pwnecast podcast.
You know, there's something to be said for all of you wonderful people. And by all of you wonderful people, I mean all of my awesome co-hosts. Let me fix their boxes, guys, because this is going to drive me nuts. So we're just going to do this on the fly. It's not like we're a quality production anyway, so this is all right. This is totally okay. All right, see how nice that is? All right, now we can actually get down to business. Welcome back. If you are new to Pwnecast, my name is Belle. I did bring the Riders of Rohan with me. I did bring Remedies, unfortunately. Who, are you yet the official lore master for real, or are we still pretending?
I guess I'm pretending, apparently.
Guys, let's express our disappointment in the form of...
Get in line!
F's in chat. F's in chat.
Let's express our disappointment in the form of throwing tomatoes at him. I don't know if that works in real life, but...
I mean, I can make some spaghetti, so that works.
I mean, you're the real winner. Coupon and all.
Coupon and all. Yeah, Belle, I have a coupon to get a delicious steak dinner at the Ponderosa.
Well, I love steak dinners at the Ponderosa. I heard those are the best places to get steak dinners, right? Is that accurate? Is that good quality information? No? Probably
Yeah.
not.
Like, Visions less expansion and Torghast this, right? That's what the Ponderosa is. The best place to get everything.
I'm not a fan of any of that. I also did bring, speaking of pains in my asses, I also did bring Envy, who is looking quite weathered this week. I've noticed, like, normally
Wow.
he's very well groomed, but I think, like, since the expansion launched, he's just been like, okay, I'm just gonna not give a fuck about my appearance.
What Le Cactus said, and like I said, well, the viewers didn't hear this, but I'm already married. You know, I got 3 pugs. I got everything I want. Like, I don't need to prove anything to no one.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have anything to prove to anyone except for maybe, you know. Never mind. Not even gonna finish that statement. I also brought.
You're gonna.
I also brought the freshly married to what I'm gonna call a terrorist, Bruce. You had to know that I was gonna mention your wife's acts of terrorism on pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
And Thanksgiving in general this holiday season because I mortified.
I was pretty mortified when I went to go cut a slice of pie, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?"
Please explain.
How do you explain how awful this cut job was?
It was funny though, because Belle makes those little personal pies, and I was like, this is exactly the reason she does this.
And what's really funny, so when I was explaining to some guests that had come over, well, they're not really guests, I've known them forever. Anyway, they came over for Thanksgiving. I was explaining my reason for doing a ton of mini pies, which is a lot of work, but and as I'm explaining it, Rem is like, "Did you see that picture Brew posted?" And I'm like, "No." I also hadn't looked in Discord because Thanksgiving for 2 days I'm out of commission with most things. Like, in Discord I have to physically go to it. It isn't just Anyway.
The fuck?
So, part of the reason I do the mini pies for Thanksgiving is because of people like that, or rather that cut the pie not properly, or there's the people that when they get their piece of pie, they scoop half of the next piece when they take it out of the pie tin. Then there's my all-time favorite, which is the pie knife. They leave it in the pie tin. So every time you go to get a piece of pie, you've got this knife that over 2 or 3 days has now accumulated quite a bit of mixed items. And I'm going to say mixed items because I don't think it's all pie on there. I have dogs, so I'm sure a dog hair or two has clung and stuck to said, because the pie knife's usually sticking half out, which means part of the pie is dry anyway. So I do believe people that cut their pie this way, I believe that is an act of terrorism. Domestic terrorism in 2 forms of definition. But
as opposed to Sam calling the police.
I'm surprised Sam didn't send the police to my house for that.
You know, it's not the first time she sent the police to anybody's home for that matter.
That's true, actually.
I'm not a cop caller, guys, just so we're clear. I know those of you listening or watching are like, wow, this hoe's a cop caller. No. That is not how it works. I couldn't get a hold of one of our guildies, who isn't just a guildie. He's basically like family to me. And I panicked, and I called the local police and asked them to do a well check. He sends me a text message. I'm good. Okay, just checking. But I panic, guys. Then Now when Envy asks me if Envy's noticed it's been a few days since he's been online, Envy will text me and say, "Do not call the police, but have you heard from him?"
That was literally the other day too.
That's the love that you have for Guildies. So guys, we have a lot to talk about tonight. Because things and stuff and junk.
Yeah.
First, let's talk about the weekly reset, which the weekly reset, the stuff doesn't kick in until the 8th. Did they skip next week on purpose? I couldn't find.
Yeah, I don't know if they explained it fully, but I assume it's because the raid and season starts, so that's when they'll start doing other stuff, because there's rewards that are given, you know.
Okay. So the weekly event, PvP Brawl, stuff like that, that's going to start Tuesday the 8th. And for the 8th, the Battleground bonus event is going to be the first weekly event, which is really great. PvP Brawl is my second favorite. It might be my first. I don't actually know at this point, which is Packed House. Pilgrim's Bounty is going on now until the 30th. By the time most of you guys watch this, you'll have maybe like a day left over. You do need Pilgrim's Bounty for things, so do it. It's fun. It's nice to give thanks and throw food at people at the table. I mean in a game, not at home. That's rude. Darkmoon Fair will be coming the 6th through the 12th, so you can take advantage of the experience and the reputation buff, by the way, because, you know, unless you were smart and leveled in war mode, like many. If you weren't smart...
And then turned it off, right? After you hit 60, you turn it off?
Why would you turn it off? Why would you?
Because you want to be part of the problem, don't you?
No, you don't want... No! You do not want to be part of the problem. Now, I have to say, it's really important that I'm honest, because and that's why Envy's making fun of me. Last expansion, I talked about that people who do that are part of the problem. So I made a commitment, and I have been in war mode pretty much, unless I'm forced to because somebody else doesn't have it on and we're doing a thing. Now, I have been leveling slow. I missed the 2 days for the Thanksgiving stuff, but I've been leveling with our friend Julio. So we've been going at a pretty good pace. We just hit, we're about to, I think we're like 10% from, we're almost done with Ardenwild, and then, yeah, so I did this in war mode, and yesterday I was in Maldraxxus, and it was really hard, not gonna lie, and I almost said, just turn off war mode and finish Maldraxxus and then turn it back on, because Maldraxxus is, I'm sure it's everywhere, but for our server, it largely is a lot of Horde and not many Alliance. I did not. I stayed the course. There was some angry yelling. My daughter came in and said, "Mom, are you okay?" And my husband goes, "She's just PvPing. It's okay. She's fine. She's killing people." And then my other one goes, "What's Mom doing?" And he's like, "In a game." So, yes, it's important that if you are a PvPer, that you don't be a little bitch and turn off your war mode. If you're not a PvPer, that's fine. Totally turn off your war mode. Not a big deal. Use it for leveling. But if you are a PvPer, and if you're saying you're a PvPer, don't be a little bitch and turn your war mode off. Because you are, in fact, part of the problem. And anybody that gets offended that I said that, please send your complaints to the complaint department at idon'tgiveafuck@pwnecast.tv, and we will file that under things that matter. Angie, you're always the exception. You have to understand that. You're always the exception. You're always the exception. And it's okay to be the exception. There isn't an email address. I don't give a fuck. But I really should probably make one now. So, you guys got me sidetracked with the freaking... Oh, Wanderers Festival. I don't think I had ever heard of that. Is that new?
No.
Are you sure? Because I've never participated, and I don't even remember. I also don't do a lot of the.
It was. I mean, technically, it's new. It was one of those little mini holidays that they added.
Micro
Like
holidays,
the
right?
micro mini.
Is it Miss Pandaria
The
content?
source says it's the same word. So.
Miss Pandaria content, right? Leishen or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it is related to.
I don't think I've
yeah.
ever actually done it, but it's the 7th if you want to go in and do it. Now, with that said, let's talk about the raid schedule. It's posted everywhere, but I'm just going to give it to you guys just so that you have it. December 8th is going to be normal and heroic difficulties. Obviously, as we know, with the normal and heroic difficulty starting on December 8th, that also does mean that we've got PvP, the PvP season starting, and I believe we also have Mythic Pluses, the Season 1 for Mythic Pluses, so that is correct.
That's going to be entertaining.
December 15th is going to be Mythic Castle. I'm confused. I might be confused.
Mythic Castle, Matharia.
Yeah,
raid,
but
it opens.
I think I'm confused. Hey, what happened? Who's editing stuff? Or I'm gonna kill you. And Raid Finder Wing 1, which is gonna be important for most of you, because those of you that are not either on a raiding team or don't want to be on a raiding team and you just want to do some of the raid content, whatever, December 15th will be when you can do the first wing and, you know, hopefully not get a million stacks of determination, because LFR. But
if you need a raiding team, just tag along.
Just message Envy, because he is interested in being your quality raid leader.
I didn't say quality.
I mean,
Or raid leader, but somewhere in the mix.
hey, somebody wants your OnlyFans, Rem. Get on it. January 5th
What?
is Wing 2 for Raid Finder. January 19th is Wing 3, and February 2nd is Wing 4.
All the content I bring is folding fitted sheets and getting paid to get dressed. So.
I am, for me personally, I'm a little annoyed that the raid is so soon.
Allegedly.
I am not interested in rushing anything. I'm not interested in rushing to gear. I'm not interested in rushing to start the fucking grind.
That makes sense though, Belle. You're not Russian. You're Italian.
No, but I'm saying, like, to me, it feels really soon. I thought normally raid was like a month after, but I guess.
The pacing is actually pretty good because people don't, I mean, the small minority don't like the time gating, but I personally like it because it doesn't make me feel stressed out too burn out like that first couple weeks.
Time gating what? I'm talking about raid being very soon after the expansion began.
A lot of people are also remoting too. They've got nothing better to do. They'll immediately jump on the game if they want to.
Well, what's the actual at expansion launch? What's the usual? Because I thought it was like at most 3 weeks.
I always for some reason thought it was a month, but maybe
it was weeks.
Maybe it felt like a month.
Like 3.
It might have been just because it's December and that's like a skeleton crew at the later end of December. So
I have no desire to rush to be ready.
It's a great band, though.
Normal.
Yeah, YYZ. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's many
so
of
good
you
life.
that are probably really excited that raid starts early, and that's super great for you guys. For me, it isn't. I'm not interested in that, and it just isn't. I don't like to feel rushed, so I have specifically not gone quickly. In fact, I had to make myself log off last night because I did not want to max out last night. I wanted to go just another day before I maxed, because once you max out, then you got to hit the ground running and do all the crap, and I just am enjoying what's happening.
Are you like using, or are you just like logging off for rested XP too? Is that your gig?
Well, no, I am logging off for Rested XP, but I just, for the first expansion ever, I just didn't want to rush. I wanted to enjoy and be at a good pace and not feel like, oh my God, everybody's 60 and I'm not. I just really wanted to not have anything to do because I had to do it, really, I guess.
What?
Are you interrupting me because you want to talk about what I'm talking about, or are we going to continue interrupting me this episode like we did last episode about stuff that isn't relevant to what we're talking about? I just need to make sure I'm clear. Rem.
I'm sorry, I should have muted. I was reacting to Stone.
So you were reacting to Stone. Was Stone reacting to a video?
Yeah.
Motherfucking reactions left and right. So with that being said, obviously you three are really excited that the raid is coming. Do I have that accurate?
Very.
So much Nyalotha, you know.
Were you going to say
it
so
already
much
sucks being
cactus?
remoted. I was going to say Castle. I'm really excited for the Castle raid. But just doing Nyalotha, just forcing yourself to play WoW for who knows how long, we need something new. As a raider, I am excited. To your point, though, I do want to explore, especially Ardenweald. That's probably the only zone so far that had my grasp. Like, oh my God, there's like so much lore going on around here. Maldraxxus too, but Ardenweald is just like, it's like a really dark, messed up, you know, the first Maleficent movie, if you will, kind of
What was that
situation
word?
going on there. Maleficent, you've seen that crappy Disney movie? It's the same thing. It's what it is, really, but with bears and shit.
I agree with that.
And I don't want to spoil it, but that in-game cinematic that everybody probably already seen with Ursoc.
Yeah, that was pretty terrible.
I cried in my reaction video.
I thought Rem was overreacting when he mentioned it without spoiling, because that's how he rolls, and I thought he might have been overreacting, but I found out that he was in fact reacting appropriately because it was a tearjerker. So that's your favorite zone then?
Yeah, and if you have an RTX card, that's the zone to use it.
Just work for them. Just get a sponsorship.
Oh, sorry, RT card, because AMD has it too.
Rem, what's your favorite zone of all the zones?
Rippenfest. And just general. But if you split it up in different like categories, then it changes a lot.
Well, like what?
Like visually, it's definitely Ardenweald. Story-wise and like lore-wise, also Ardenweald. They did really. Whichever section of the team worked on that, they did really fucking good.
I agree with that. I agree with that statement, actually. What was your favorite to quest through? Was it Ardenweald too?
Questing was actually Bastion.
I did like Bastion questing. I didn't dislike it. I didn't. BFA was released August. Oh dear.
A month or
So it
3
was,
weeks.
yeah, a month later.
About 3 weeks. Or three and a half.
yeah, so I mean, if you're rounding up, it's close to 4. It feels really, maybe that's just me. But Brew, what about you? What was your favorite zone?
It's a tough call between Revendreth and Maldraxxus, but I'm probably going to go with Revendreth.
What about
Got that.
leveling?
Maldraxxus, I thought it had the best pacing, and I leveled through the first time through beta. I think that was the first zone that really drew me in, or the only zone that drew me into where it's like, I have to finish this before I go to sleep. Like, it just drew me in, and I just felt connected to the characters.
I have to agree with that. You know, you would have thought, whatever the word is, that I would have been all about Maldraxxus given my Warlock heritage, but I truly, I appreciated the story for sure. Visually, you know, there was stuff going on. I was not really excited to be there visually, to be perfectly honest. It wasn't really my get down. The pacing was just fine, the questing was fine. I just it was really ugly. I wasn't interested in, it's really hard to go from Bastion to Maldraxxus because the polar opposites in visuals.
Well, that's kind of what I like about Shadowlands too. Each section obviously has their own theme to it, but it's just all this stuff kind of comes together as a Shadowlands. Kind of cool.
And it's kind of drastically different, but not so different that it isn't connected. Is that proper?
I don't know what you're trying to say.
I don't know. I figured you would know.
No Nintendo. You're sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. What's up?
So clearly, your least favorite zone to level in was Maldraxxus. I would agree for a very different reason. With war mode on,
Yeah, that was.
you're just that place is just nuts. Like
my
you're
God.
always on edge. Quite literally, like Blade's Edge in a gladiatorial type of environment, right? You're like, oh, this mother.
It
were
makes
camped
sense.
by a mage and a druid. That combo was fucked up from the go get. Yeah, Alex was just like, just rest and run. We're outmatched and outgunned.
Well, it makes sense though, because I mean, Maldraxxus is built around
Yeah.
warfare, so they were
Oh,
just
man.
making sure you had the full experience.
Right.
I really enjoyed war mode there because I was in a group of 5 and 2 of us were monks and we both had Ring of Peace. So we would be running by edges, looking at Horde run by the same edge, and we would ring them off.
Not where I thought we were
It's
going
a
with
thick
that.
move.
Yeah, that's happened to be in Bash. So bitches.
There was a lot of deaths. It took me a minute just to get my footing. Like, I logged in and was just doing it solo, waiting for Julio to log in, and I text the Ginger, say, hey, you should come up here and do Maldraxxus with me because I'm solo and I'm kind of getting my ass kicked here, and I would like a buddy. So he takes forever to come in. By the time he comes in, I'm zen now. Like, I'm good. I've got my footing. I don't linger by where I know there's going to be a lot of horde turning in quests. I don't just linger and hang out. I turn this shit in and I run. I stay mounted. I am not out in the open. Like, I'm being smarter as we're getting into like the first hour of the evening. So my Ginger comes in.
He has a name, you know.
He doesn't watch the show, so I don't have to care about him complaining that I never use his name. He starts and he loads into, you know, when you first load in and it's like everybody in the center of this arena and everyone's just, so he's cursing, and my husband doesn't really curse a whole lot, but he's stressing me out, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, fucking war mode, and I'm like, well, okay, go turn off war mode then. That's your choice. You can either sit there and keep crying about it, or you can go turn off war mode. Like, either way, you're stressing me out. Can you please go? So he goes and he turns off war mode. And after about an hour and a half, I said, did you turn back on war mode? And he said, yeah, I did. He goes, it was just that one part. Now I'm fine. That was a little rough. And there were many parts where it favored horde more. I don't know if it was like more horde for the story, or I'm unsure.
Oh, the story is literally the same across factions.
Oh, there's no difference?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, Maldraxxus was a little bit rough. Ardenweald, there's so much going on, all within the same, that I'm not quite sure I follow everything appropriately, because there's a few different groups that are happening all in the same. And, you know, I'm blonde, right, already. But outside of what's her name being a little bit whiny for my taste, gives an end. She's the main chick we're with for a bit.
Oh, Naya.
Naya.
She's like just a tad bit whiny. I just need her.
Well, I mean, if you just
Yeah.
had your place kind of destroyed,
I
you'd be
agree.
kind of whiny too.
Fair enough, and
Right? Huh.
I don't disagree, and you're absolutely right, and I probably, you know, I probably could have been. I did appreciate. Who's the traitor we follow? Because of the V. He's one of the Flamehead people.
The traitor.
Yeah,
Well, Benari's in the Maw.
Okay, so when we're doing that part, I appreciate their voice. I really, really liked their voice. I don't know what it was about their voice.
I've been saying it everywhere, but yeah, the voice actor is a voice actor or actress on Overwatch. I can't remember the name of either the actress or the character, but it reminds me of, I can't remember her name, but yeah. No, it's the counselor lady and the show Expanse. It sounds a lot like her. It's not her, but I like the voice. It's cool.
I do agree with you. And I got a little annoyed because I don't know the gender, because I think that's one of the gender fluid factions, right? So they, him, them, us, her, him, I don't know. When we landed, when we took the, we had the thing and we turned into goo or whatever it was. They're like, I hope you weren't followed. Number one.
That's something you would say, though.
But number one, bitch, I was rolling with you the whole time. So if I was followed, it's because you were followed, right? Like, I rolled with you. And two, I was invisible, essentially, because it was a blue, stripy, whatever it was. I don't remember. It was really late when I did that. But I just was really annoyed. Like, I hope you weren't followed. How would I know if I was followed? I was a wispy thing traveling through the air. How would I know that if I was followed? That was the only part that annoyed me. But I haven't left Ardenweld yet. So, although I've been to Rivendreth in beta, I haven't been to it in this form. So, for now, I think... Visually, I don't know what my favorite is.
What was that?
Because visually, I don't know what my favorite is.
Yeah, I heard it too.
I'm stuck in between. I really like Ardenweld because it's very,
Weldy.
It's also... Listen, guys, before I say this, I need nobody to judge me, and I don't want anybody getting upset or frustrated or mad at what I'm about to say. You're just going to have to be okay with it. I was a little freaked out by the little tiny fairies that had grown-ass men deep voices. I get it. That's probably another one of the gender fluids, but I was really freaked out, guys.
No, so, but funny, it's kind of random, but in the early stuff for MOP, there was little kids that had full-grown men voices, and they were like, I'm growing a beard. It's like, what? It just happened.
Let's go play some kickball.
I was extremely freaked out. I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know who was talking. And it was really...
Oh, hello.
It was...
It's just like our meetings.
You can't tell her no, because I heard my daughter tell her no when she tried to open the door, and I heard her throw herself on the floor. She will not accept the word no. That just is not in her vocabulary. But I didn't realize that it was the fairy talking. I thought it was the NPC to the right, and then I realized it was the fairy, and I'm like, wait, what just happened? Sounded like a 50-year-old grown man that benched.
That's a lot. That's a
agree.
big number.
Yeah.
A lot of weight to be bench pressing.
That benched 50 pounds, 500 pounds, whatever. I agree with you. She just wanted to give you her opinion. I apologize, guys. This is extremely unprofessional, but here we are.
She's bringing valid points.
Now all I want is one of the little fairy people in Ardenweald to be voiced by the guy who voiced Blackhand and Reinhardt.
That'd be funny.
I think that would be really strange. I see you have been hanging out with Rem.
What?
Nah.
She likes Rem. Rem is her friend.
That's perfect English, mind you.
Rem is her friend. They're buddies. Which she doesn't really like a lot of people in general.
Neither does Rim. They already have that in common.
I know that.
Exactly.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. But she like cuddled up next to him on the couch when he was here, and I just thought, well, that's strange. She doesn't. I can't even get her to cuddle with me, but here she is.
You,
Cuddling with
you know,
me.
heaven forbid that you're like in the middle of a meeting where you have to let somebody go. That's the heaven forbid part. Or not, I don't care. You fire who you want to fire. Your kid or your granddaughter walks in and this person's literally getting fired. If you holding a child on your lap. So,
She's not bound by any normal kid rules because they just don't apply to her. And she is aware that they don't apply to her.
Oh yeah, she knows. She's smarter than.
So because she is aware that they don't apply to her, when Grandma does have to say no, her whole life is over.
She knows it. She knows it.
Is that funny? You're silly. She is going to be famous one day. What? You want to say hi? Oh. She also likes to yell at other children when they're talking.
I'm sorry, Rem.
When they're not supposed to be talking, she does yell at them. Okay. So
Dick.
let's here's what I want to do before we start talking about all the stuff that I want to talk about. It's very important that this be discussed because I probably asked Rem about 7 times for him to...
You pull that number out of your ass.
Well, it was probably like 3 or 4 times. Every time I saw an object that looked like it matched, I want to talk about the gaping hole in the jailer's chest. Okay?
We're back on this.
Because, like...
So, what do you put in the hole, Envy?
Put your weed in there, probably,
You know?
but...
You can put your weed.
I don't know that I want to share that part.
So, the first thing I thought of when we're in front of the Arbiter, when it's the cutscene, there's like this orb deal in front of the Arbiter, and I thought, well, that's strange. The only reason I thought it was strange is because it fits in the hole, and if it fits, it sits. But the connection between like stuff going on and the Arbiter not responding and being non-responsive since X amount of event or whatever. Then secondly, I'm going through my bag and I'm deleting all the stuff. And I see the Scourge Stone from the pre-expansion event. And I thought, that's strange, because that actually is the exact shape. And looks just like it, except opposite. It's the fill-in part versus the empty part. So...
What? So it's exact but opposite?
So, like, it has the things around it, like his...
Oh, okay. I was like... So it's same but different?
Now, Rem, every time I asked, I'm like, but what does this do? Does this fit? Does this go here? He's like, well, there's been some talk about it. So, I figured it'd be a really good time to lock Rem into that discussion. Because that's all he said. He wouldn't go any further on what they thought it was. He would just say, oh, well, that's the theory. But what and why?
Well, we don't know what is inside the Arbiter or what was inside the Jailer. We just know that. How spoilery are we going to get right now?
So, if you know things, you have to tell me like you don't know them. This is strictly what it could be from the point of view.
Well, I think there's nothing in terms of his whole chest thing. There's nothing, like, because he's such a brand new entity that apparently was behind a whole bunch of stuff going on in Azeroth and around the cosmos. Because they're kind of tying him into a lot of stuff.
Yes,
Him and his people, but
what could go
with the
in
Scourge
hole?
Stone, it could be a source of power, could be anima, it could be anything really.
So if it was a source of power, which is the obvious thing, right? Obviously, I immediately thought of Iron Man. However, there's nothing there. It's missing. Is what's
Yeah. And it
weird.
could be he took something out to do something else, because if you look at his, it's not really armor, but the contraptions around it, it almost looks like one of those when they're doing heart surgery stuff where like it rips it open and holds it open.
It holds it open.
But
I thought the
no,
same
there's
thing.
you could say any type of theory and it sounds believable just because there is nothing that we know about him.
And you've never seen anything like that in nature in WoW that would make sense.
Well, if I can interject a little bit, you kind of know that it takes an incredible amount of souls to open a gateway. The Legion figured that out, right?
Yeah.
We're feeding a shit ton of, there are a shit ton of souls just automatically going to the maw. So that could be something to look into.
Yeah, because I mean,
whatever's filtering into that could potentially go into this cavity. We don't know. There was mention of I don't want to say because it could get spoilerly, but
The Arbiter is the reason the souls are automatically going to the maw, right? Because the Arbiter isn't choosing.
yes and no. The jailer and someone else and his lackeys broke the machine of death, and because the Arbiter isn't there, to arbitrate everything, then they just straight to jail.
So, question for you, Rem. Was Uther and Devos, were they the first ones who broke the cycle?
No, so they're not related to, well, technically Devos is now because she is an agent of the jailer, but she was the first one that realized that stuff can leave the maw because she saw the runes on Arthas's rune blade on Frostmourne, and they recognize that as being from the maw. Us on Azeroth, we just think it's this magic power that the Legion was able to capture or make. So now we're kind of seeing the behind the scenes of pretty much all the bad stuff that's happened in a catastrophic way in Azeroth and around everywhere. He has his hands in it.
Now, I'm sure there's a lot of
I mean, their power is equivalent, or just even possibly more now that he's being fed in the maw to the Pantheon, the Titan Pantheon. I'm not going to say what it is, but in Ardenweald there is mention of the Winter Queen talking about stuff like that.
So how far, what do you guys guess or gather would say when we can start talking about things we've seen in zones without it being spoilery? I need somebody to give me a
I would say probably next show would be a good time to dive deep into the story, because that gives enough time for everyone to go through, and I think we'll do it in 2 weeks. So
the next show, I need those of you that listen or watch, if you plan on playing, I need you to get through that stuff, because it's I like to not do spoilers, but I have questions, and I have follow-up questions, and then I have even more questions, because...
Well, one thing I was just thinking about too, I'm sorry,
No, you're good.
When NB mentioned the portal thing with the souls, we have evidence that other beings can either go into Shadowlands or leave when you see Draka going into that Legion world, getting whatever it was, like plans or whatever that she was stealing. So we know that people can go in and out. Oh my god. It can go to the Shadowlands and leave the Shadowlands, or vice versa. And there's evidence that I'm not going to say what's exactly, but there's evidence that the Void and the Light have interacted with the Shadowlands as well.
Interesting. So, this next break in between now and next episode, your guys' mission is to come up with ideas for what goes in the Jailer's Gaping Hole, because I really need to know what goes there.
I wish Shock were watching.
I really need to know.
Well, the hole's on the wrong end for Shock.
Because, like, here's the thing about what we know. What we know is everything Blizzard does is very specific, including the artwork, the way something looks. There's been many iterations of what the jailer was supposed to look like before all was said and done, right? They, like, serious changes in direction. He originally looked like Grandfather Time, kind of, with the original. I think.
Yeah, the one that they leaked when they were doing like something about story at their little deal.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like the Father Time version of Amanthul. Like it was
Right.
really interesting.
So, I'm sure we might even go back through BFA stuff and we might remember or realize the foretelling. Though, to me, some of that foretelling isn't really obvious. This was the first expansion where I genuinely didn't see the writing on the wall like we have with previous
Are you
expansions.
talking about like right now, or are you talking about like in BFA Legion?
Like, you know how there's,
foreshadowing?
whenever we look back, we always go, oh shit, that's why they did that. That makes sense.
That's the thing. You're gonna see stuff like that, but it's like after the fact foretelling. Because like I said, they're tying him into a lot of events that happened.
So, Rem, let me ask you, Legion, when God, I feel so terrible. I just went blank on his name, Vol'jin. When he basically hands the reins to the Horde over to Sylvanas, he specifically tells her, and I'm like paraphrasing here, something of the sort, of, you know, the whispers of death are telling me not many will understand, and here you go. And I don't know if that was ever really followed through or explained. All we know is that like she took the reins and then she went down the path that she went. Would Vol'jin have known something?
So Vol'jin was actually what's the word? When they trick you, he was manipulated.
Deceived?
Didn't he think?
Yeah. When you go through the other side, the dungeon, there's actually dialogue about it that you should pay attention to.
Yep.
You find out who it was, but you also find out who was like the mastermind behind it.
Didn't know that.
So, and I think we kind of, towards the end of BFA, I think we kind of realized there's no way Vol'jin would have mischosen his war chief, right? That just isn't.
You know, because I mean,
but
part of the
whole thing
problem
with
was
Wamsandi too, there was a weird connection there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you rely on the Loa so much, it's kind of like you kind of believe whatever you hear when you think it's them.
And since good old fucking what's his face thought he was talking Azeroth, and
did you get all of your Azerite power?
oh my god.
Oh, it
Finally replace that neck, thank God.
But like, so really the deceptions are probably only going to begin to scratch the surface. It seems to me
it's gonna go pretty heavy.
It seems to me like okay, so I really thought BFA was going to be endgame for Azeroth, right? Like, I thought we were going to, like, explode Azeroth and we were going to be off this rock. Okay, well, we're off Azeroth, technically speaking, because we're a different dimension, plane of existence. What?
Yeah, speaking of, like, what endgame for BFA, or BFA being endgame for Azeroth, Legion felt like more of a kind of like, we're all gonna die.
That's because we
compared
lost
to BFA.
major characters, right? Like,
not even just the major characters. We had the Legion full power coming at us, and then we have a sword still sticking out of Azeroth. BFA, we had an ugly tentacle boy dying in his own little realm. It was just the anxiety of like, oh, Azeroth is actually gonna die wasn't there compared to Legion.
Right, like you kind of know N'Zoth is rolling about, But when there's a big ass portal in front of you with this big ass demon looking son of a bitch, I'm like, I'm just gonna go ahead and pray to the rock gods.
Because the thing I'm noticing is Jailer has a similar mindset as the old gods. They are in it for the long game. Like, it's not just like, oh, we're just going to throw all the shit at you and you're going to die.
And we don't know how far back they're going to take the Jailer in his puppet strings, right? We don't know how far back they're going to put him as the puppet master, right?
Yeah, the only thing 100% that we know is it goes back to like Gul'dan times when he was first assaulting Azeroth and Arthas. Because when Azrael was initially separated and put into the armor, we find out that the armor was actually from the Maw, so there's a lot of stuff. Now, do we think that the Jailer is the guy,
or do we think that the Jailer works for someone?
I'm guessing there is a bigger, badder person than him, but he is kind of like Sylvanas at the moment. He thinks he's the head honcho right now. I don't think anyone's manipulating him. Like, he's at the top of his little regime thing, but...
And we don't know, because we didn't know a whole lot about the Shadowlands in general, and I say that we as a people, right, the people of Azeroth, did not... there isn't a whole lot of common knowledge about the Shadowlands from your everyday citizen of Azeroth, right? So we don't know, like... How the fuck did he get there? Who put him in charge? Who is his manager? And can I talk to his manager? Did he grow up there? Was he placed there? Did he break in? Was he given the keys? How? Who? And what? And why? And where? I have questions.
Well, we're gonna... Because, I think it was Cacti that mentioned in chat before, but the first ones is also another thing that's mentioned. That as an entity that we don't know exactly what they are, but they are definitely behind the construction of Oribos and some of the different architecture that you see around the different zones in Shadowlands.
Weren't they called the first ones? What were they referred to?
That's what I just said.
Is that what you just... Oh, I didn't hear the first ones part. Oh, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Yeah, because you have the leaders of Shadowlands. They are the Pantheon of Death. And then you have either someone that was there before them, or someone that worked with them that are the first ones.
And the assumption is the Titans have always been top dog, right? In our understanding of the existence of...
In our understanding, or just Azeroth
citizens. Understanding. The citizens of Dalaran.
Old gods and the Pantheon were kind of like the big boys. Literally and figuratively.
But there's probably always somebody bigger, right? Or somebody...
There's always a bigger fish.
I agree with that. So the good news is we have a lot of questions, and I really love expansions that have a lot of questions. I don't really want the answers to them right now. I would like you guys to investigate, and by you, I don't just mean cast, but I mean you listening and watching at home. I need you to investigate what potentially could be put in this gaping hole in the Jailer so that we can theorize next episode. So I want you to come equipped with possibilities. But, I mean, to me, I would just stick some dirty diapers in there and call it a day. But the fact that it's there isn't anything glowing. It's just there. I even found myself during one of the cinematics trying to move my monitor so I could get a better view into the... Anyway. But I love that we have a lot of questions. I love that there's a lot of questions, and I love that through each zone we've been going through, we've gotten some little answers, but it just gave more questions. I love that. I would like to go the next 7-8 months without any answers, just more questions, right?
Yeah, I kind of miss having that suspense of we see this, but what does it all mean? What does it mean, Basil?
And I would like whatever growing theories. I have not looked at any of the growing theories. I've waited until I'm going to wait until I'm done with the last zone before I look at theories.
Yeah, I'm guessing because I didn't do the testing for Nathria in beta, but I'm assuming there's going to be like dialogue or some type of cinematic with the Nathrius that's going to have some pretty good, juicy story.
And I'd like to know, like, I'd like to fast forward like 8-9 months from now. Because I want to know. I know it's really dumb to be like, well, where are we going after this? But depending on how far back they take the jailer in terms of being the guy with the grand design, if you defeat him, where do you go from there, right? If he's been the cause of our turmoil for I don't know how many Azeroth years, it's interesting just to watch it unfold.
Well, he's definitely one of the major factors on it. But I mean, now that they're going into this story with Shadowlands, that opens up a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, they can either just create an entirely new thing that we don't know about. Like even Shadowlands, like we knew it existed as players because it was just in the lore, but all we knew about it was supposed to be like a carbon copy of Azeroth, but just dead. But then they opened up the fucking floodgates on that.
And yeah, it's its own coexistence. And I even said, why are we training in Shadowlands? Why are the aspirants, why are they training? They're dead. Who the fuck are you fighting? Why are you every day training in battle? In Shadowlands, if I'm dead and I'm deemed good and I get to go to the pretty place, I'm trying to eat tacos and drink margaritas. I'm not trying to waste everyday training like I'm alive.
Well, I mean, it's fairly peaceful, but they're still getting attacked by others.
Yeah, you had said they had been in turmoil for some time, so okay, that makes sense. But what did they do before they were in turmoil? What did they do were they still training?
Well, before there was fighting between the Maw and Maldraxxus and what we're going on right now, they were being attacked by. I don't want to say exactly what it is. I'll say it next.
So has there ever been peace then, where they didn't train? They were just like eating grapes and laying on clouds and leaves and stuff in the good places, not necessarily where the.
Well, I mean, Maldraxxus, you're never gonna have.
Right. You're gonna have stretchy racks and
a little picnic with some grapes and stuff, but I could see like in the before times, like before we get there, like Ardenweld and Rivendreth, they don't give a shit. They just still have their parties, but Bastion and Ardenweld kind of being like kind of laid back before the drought.
Interesting. Okay, so there's so much to talk about, honestly, but most of the story stuff we're not going to be able to get into until the next episode. So I really want to stay away from initial spoilers on that, and we're just going to have to be okay with it. So, Drew, I need you to give information on the adventure table and what that looks like. And there's mobile things, but I need you to give information, approach it from the standpoint of, hi, I'm new. Not me, but the people under the stream stairs.
I'm new, I don't know what to do.
So the simplest way to explain the adventure table is it's an auto battler. You have your companions that you unlock, either throughout the story or in Torghast that you can have. And if you had played any other expansions, if you played Warlord, Legion, or Battle for Azeroth, it's similar to how the mission tables worked, except this time you can, instead of just sending 1 to 3 people on a mission, it's actually you can put 5 in there, and there's different ways you can arrange them. And if you line certain companions, in one row versus another row, you can get more damage or more health or some heal. Very similar to Champions of the Idle Realm. It's one of the idle games. You can kind of move people around and buff your party in different ways. And they have simple rewards. It's a good way to get anima. Sometimes they have rewards for conduits and even gear.
I just want you guys to know that I did not tell him he was doing this before. I just said it right now. So that was just his preparedness in general for life. Because I am not max level, some of this stuff I can't actually explain, because then it'd be fake, because it would just be me regurgitating something. So I need those that have been through it. It's nice to not know any of it. And just reading through some of the things, my eye was twitching, because I hate having to memorize the new names of stuff, even though it's the same shit. It's just refabricated for the new stuff. Rem, let's talk about Covenant callings. Let's talk about Covenant callings and how those work with world quests. What that means for people when they are
about
maxed.
Experience new as like.
Hi, I just reached max level and did my Covenant stuff, and I have world quests and I have these callings for my Covenant. What does it mean?
What does it mean, Basil? So callings are going to be you pick them up in your Covenant. There'll be like a key character in there that says, "Hey, go do this thing." But the cool thing about the callings compared to, let's say, if you know about emissaries, is they're not hot garbage anymore. You can do 10 different things for this one calling. So the calling says aid, let's say Bastion. So you can do treasures, rares, world quests. You can go do the dungeons and be done with it. There are some where you have to collect treasures in this place. Like I had one in Rivendreth the other day where you had to open up 3 treasure chests around Rivendreth, and you collect little coins and turn it in. And the cool thing I like about callings too is, like I said, you can do 10 different things to this one deal you got. It's the same rotation. Every 3 days it'll be full, but it rotates. And the box that it comes with is actually pretty lucrative. It gives you pretty good, you can get conduits. I'm assuming items. I haven't gotten a whole bunch of different things, but it's mostly been conduits and like items. I've also gotten like currency for my Covenant, specifically called Sin Stones. And there's a whole bunch of different things that I like about callings that I think new players and experienced players are going to like about callings. And you get a lot of gold from it. I did 2 and I got like 5,000 gold.
Now, correct me if I misinterpreted, since I haven't seen it myself. Though some of the rewards for the callings are, if you're aligned with that Covenant, obviously it's better. But I'm trying to figure out if I misinterpreted that everyone can see the callings, not just the Covenant you're aligned with. Is that accurate, or did I misunderstand?
The callings are like in your Covenant, and you go help other zones, or you do it in Rivendreth or wherever your Covenant
and
is.
Those go together with the regular world quests, right? Because there are regular world quests.
Yeah, so that's why I say you can do world quests in that zone, or you can just kill rares. It depends on what the actual calling is. There's one for collect 3 coins from treasure chests. There's just aid that zone. There's one specifically for world quests. Like there's a bunch of different callings instead of just like go do 4 world quests in this zone and you're good, or go fuck off somewhere. It's good stuff. I like this adaptation a lot better.
Interesting. Yeah, I read through it and I thought, here we go, calling something else. I gotta get used to some other shit.
I like the name though too, because it's like your Covenant is like, yo, my dude, and it's not, Magni going like, oh wait, champion.
Well, and, you know, if you're, I think the interesting thing about it is if you are, you know, alting, which it should be relatively easy to alt this expansion. If you're alting, then you get different experiences, right? I was thinking about this from my Ginger's perspective. He likes to do world quests, and he particularly likes to swap from alt to alt in one gaming session, just doing a bunch of world quests. And I thought, well, that will be really nice for him, because then he won't, it's not just rinse repeat during a gaming session where he's like just manning all of his alt stuff.
There's not like an overload of world quests too. Like,
well, it balances just like with the emissaries, right? The emissaries balance that.
Yeah, it's a good amount, but it's not like you have like 10 world quests in like a zone and a half. It's evenly spaced on the world quests as well.
You end up having like 5 in each zone.
Yeah, it's not like an overload where you have to feel like I have to do all of these in order to like collect gold or anima or whatever you want. And it actually rewards pretty good stuff. I got a good conduit from doing one, so.
And we are your, obviously everyone knows like your covenants are your, you know, that's your gonna be your life. You can change your covenants, so if you haven't picked one yet and you're not maxed and you're stressing out, you don't have to stress like too much. However, like they're not going to make it easy for you to switch, right? It shouldn't be easy. I know I read a thread where they said it should be easy. Absolutely not. There should be a driving force for thoughtfulness in the choices you make when it comes to major paths that you're taking your character down. I know that their raid's a consideration and PvP is a consideration and all these things are a consideration, but at the end of the day, like there should be super thoughtfulness in your choices, and you shouldn't on a whim be able to just swap and everything be hunky-dory. You should have to dedicate yourself if you swap from one and then you go back to it later. Yeah, you're gonna have to reprove to me that you're loyal, because if I'm the head of whatever the covenant is and I've got somebody who keeps swapping back and forth, I don't fucking want you. Like, I need loyalty in dire times, and that's what's happening. So I get it. It's not, you know, for those of you who are frustrated about that, don't be too frustrated, but also it's not life ending. If you happen to be in a covenant that you're just not jiving with and you're just like, this sucks, just change it. It's okay. Nobody's going to die. You're going to be just fine. But it is a serious decision. My husband's been more thoughtful over covenants than he has us getting married. So that should tell you the thought. He still has not picked one. There really needs to be a Whispering Eye covenant. There isn't one. I mean, Venthier's kind of... they're walking a line there, but it's okay, and that's kind of the good thing about alting as well, because then you get to experience because
the campaigns have their own story and all that. It's kind of cool too.
Yeah, you don't have to, you don't have to attach it to your main because it's the best in slot. I'm just going to use that terminology.
So
so we're clear.
Speaking on that, if you're worried about min-maxing on your covenant choice, if you're not doing high rated PvP, you're not doing like 25 and up keys, like you're not doing world first rating, you don't have to stress. Just go with whatever you want to go with, either visually, or if you do want to go with power, don't say you don't have a choice, because you're making that choice.
And it's okay to not. I didn't pick anything because it was best. I actually think I didn't pick, like there's one of two that was the best according to all the internet experts out there, but I picked what I was missing. I don't have a lot of movement, though I have some of it back, right? Because they fixed, I don't have to choose between my teleport, and all that good stuff. So I have a little bit of movement, but movement in general, especially in PvP, because I'm a caster, is something I'm lacking. So I chose, well, I haven't chosen yet, but Venthier has that blood blink. I don't know what it's called. I don't care what it's called. It just...
Door Shadows.
Thank you. It puts me from one place to the other. And I chose it for not raid, for not any other reason other than it was something I'm missing in my class that I play. I'm missing that movement. So plus, like, I kind of dig the vampire vibe. Like, I'm in. I'm sold. But then I get to, and I see the Night Fae, and they're freaking adorable. And my little monk, my little heel monk is going to be so happy. Just, at first I thought I was going to do Druid, but I'm totally not. I mean, Druid too, maybe, but my little monk is going to be so happy because she is going to love all the goose bear pigs in the Ardenweald zone. There's a lot.
Goose bear pigs.
Goose bear pigs. So, every show, I'm gonna try to take what seems to be the most questions. I like to browse the forums. I like to see what people are doing throughout the week to get a gauge on where their frustration is. What are they struggling with? What are they focusing on? Just so that I know how to gear the help towards and things that we talk about. Covenants, there's going to be a lot of conversation surrounding the covenants, especially as we get out of just our mains and start doing alt stuff with covenants, and really start heading through it. We've got a good long time before I think things become boring in terms of the way that the covenant stuff is happening, which, those are always good things. So, reputation. I'm going to go over this really quickly. I wrote a lot of stuff down. I hope those of you, the three of you reading the notes, aren't freaked out. I always write all the things down so that I can just pull the things that I want. So, for reputation, here's what I care about for rep. I care about what mounts I can get when I'm exalted. I care about, is there mounts for paragons? What recipes am I going to need to know if I give a shit about being exalted with said reputation? Because those things are important. And if you're like me, you might have only done the campaign quests and you didn't really do the side quests in the zones. So you're going to have to go back and do those. That'll help out your rep situation and all those good things. So, for Bastion, obviously that's the Ascended. The profession recipes that come from the Ascended are Inscription, Engineering, and Blacksmith. Rep gains, it's going to be the same as all the other stuff. There's nothing fancy there. The mount that you can buy when you're exalted is the Gilded Prowler, which of course is your, it's not a lion, it's something else, but I call it a lion. It has another name. Anyway, it's the Flying Lion.
Wait, what?
What is it? The Prowlers.
Oh, the Lorians?
Yeah, thank you. It's nice, it's pretty, it looks very Bastion-esque. It is what it is. The Paragon reward, once you're hitting Paragons, is just pets. There's other crap, but like the important item is pets. There's no mount. The Court of Harvesters, which is Revendreth. I spelled it wrong. That's awesome. I literally
Revendreth.
I don't even know. I'm just gonna leave it as it is. The profession recipes that they have are Inscription, Jewel Crafting. I put Inscription 3 times, and I know there's another one. Damn it. This is what happens when you... Some of these were done pre-coffee, just so we're clear. Whatever. The mount is the Court Sin Runner. It's basically a horse. It's pretty cool, though, honestly. I love horses, so... I was
gonna say you're happy.
I
know you.
I
like
don't know
horses.
what it is about horses. I freaking love horses. From your the Lorax. From your we've watched the Lorax about 1,000 times this week. Fuck. Now the song's in my head. The Undying Army is obviously Maldraxxus. Recipes are Inscription, Tailoring, Blacksmith, Engineering. Really, there's a lot of gear, and there's pretty cool looking gear, if I'm being perfectly honest. I kind of went down, that's why I just said mainly great for gear, because I got stuck looking at all the gear. there's literally just it, and there's transmog gear too. Like, it's just great for gear. And I've seen some of it. Some of the eye levels are pretty comparable to some of your entry level content for like your mythics and your other stuff too, if I'm not mistaken, unless I misread the item levels.
Really quick, since you mentioned that, I have to get on my soapbox and complain really quick. So when you have the vendor that sells quote unquote good gear, or they put in professions that make good gear, for instance, the one of the motives. So the motive to make your gear, like I think it's 167, requires you to be cordial with Bunari. The amount of effort given to make those completely removes the whole need of having that item level gear. Just stop, please. Same thing with the vendors. Like, you have to be like honored or revered before you can get quote unquote the good gear that they drop or sell, and it completely negates it. Like, the time required to get it.
I agree.
You already have better stuff.
It should be at a lower level if you're gonna do. It should be at a lower reputation level. I agree there.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'm sorry.
I agree, and I think there was a huge discussion around that in beta too. Like, I think it's fine that they give you gear, and I think it's fine that you unlock good gear at for getting reputation. I think that's awesome. But I do agree, if you're exalted and what it takes to get exalted, you're getting gear that you've out eye leveled in Mythic Pluses or the raid that's been out for 3 weeks or 2 weeks into the expansion, you know.
Now you're gonna alienate a very, I don't know what the number looks like, but, and this is gonna sound very harsh, but now you're alienating the group that doesn't do very well with the World of Warcraft and mechanics and raiding in general, right? That piece of gear might be the extra boost they need to push them over a boss or something. For people like us, that wouldn't apply, to Rem's point. We're going to just burn through whatever we can to get the best of the best because we want that AOTC achievement, right? Or what have you. But there are other groups that can't get there. They need that extra push. And more often than not, it's realistically we're just going to nerf the boss a bit. Here you go.
Well, and they're not going to get it. It takes a month to get, a month at minimum to get exalted. And this is on a bare minimum type of deal, right? People will already be LFRing before the gear becomes.
And usually
you got your casuals too. You can't always rely. There's always a if.
Well, usually the vendor is like what, heroic level?
If that, no, like in between.
No, I'm talking about
days.
heroic dungeon level. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I suppose.
So
Yeah,
I mean, I'd like it better if they did like an ensemble of just transmog that you can buy from it.
I don't think it should be gear that's relevant in a vendor from factions. I truly believe it should be. I think it should represent that particular group and what it looks like, and I think it should be some random quality of life items. But for the gear itself, I think it should be transmog stuff. I think it should be visual sets of things. It doesn't always have to be eye level crap.
I made the mistake. I made the mistake lately of going on the WoW forums, and there was one post that sticks out where someone was complaining that the best gear shouldn't come from Mythic Raids or Mythic Pluses or PvP because he can't do that.
Are you gonna say it should come from the masks and visions?
No, but thank you.
Because if that's what we're saying,
that's the best gear in the game.
I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah, it blows my mind. Like the fact that you can't like upgrade your engineering goggles, right? Like I know a lot of a lot of people
Oh
like
God, those
goggles.
things.
Right, I have a lot of friends who are engineers, and especially now, like you can use the missives from Inscription to pick the stats you want on your goggles, but you need to get essentially exalted with Venari in the mall to upgrade them from 151 to 167. Like that's that's below heroic dungeons.
Yeah.
The amount of effort to get that is absurd.
That's something that they've never really got the pacing on, is whenever something's tied to like rep or whenever it's profession related too, it just doesn't connect well.
I agree with that statement, because some of this when I was going through the stuff for the reputations, like I think it's fantastic that for great things you have to be exalted, right? For great recipes, I think it's fantastic that you have to be exalted. Some of these recipes to me should be baseline out the gate, some shit you should be able to get before you reach exalted. And I'm speaking as an inscriptionist. I was a little irritated when I was going through this morning. I thought, really, Blizzard, fuck off. But I do think that could use a little bit of reformulating. I'm going to pick and choose my battles and not choose that battle to be my cross to bear, because I've given, and we have given, when I say we, I mean us as a community, have given Blizzard much to do in terms of righting the ship in the direction that we need to go in. But I do agree that shouldn't go unnoticed, and that is important. I don't mind working hard for something, 100%. It never has bothered me. I don't mind working hard for it. I don't mind having to, I didn't say I like it. So let's not get confused, right? Nobody likes the grind. Nobody likes to do all these things to get from A to B. But I don't mind it because it's a part, but it's a part of the process, right? And it's a part of what we do as gamers. There's always going to be, a path to follow that isn't the most efficient, because we could have found a better one. But if we found a better one, it wouldn't be the path, the long drawn out path. So, but we are going to talk about that another time, because that I do have some ideas there for improvements. But before I forget, for the Undying Army, for Paragon, you do get, you have the opportunity to get the Reigns of the Colossal Slaughter Claw. Now, basically, the Colossal Slaughter Claw is just like a bird, skeleton, anorexic, man, bear, pig thing that flies. Is essentially.
You got that right.
It's just...
It looks just like the WAD collector's edition mount, the rock or whatever it's called, the blue thing. Mm-hmm. It's just like that, but undead. Yeah.
It just looks like it needs a sandwich.
Broke.
I'm excited to unlock it.
It makes sense, but I appreciate seeing mounts again in the Paragons. They're not everyone has a mount in there when you're at Paragon level, but I was really disappointed, especially in my Quilterian rep, to find out that there was no... Although they gave us really cool horses for being exalted, right? Like, you have to buy really cool horses, but...
Yeah, I got like 6.
But I'm really upset that there wasn't a mount. Not everyone needs to have one, but it should. The Wild Hunt, obviously, that's Ardenweld. The profession recipes they have are Enchanting, Leatherworking, Alchemist, and Inscription. The mount that you can get... after Exalted that you can purchase is the Dusk Flutter Arden Moth. Basically, it's like a moth, butterfly, man, bear, pig.
What's with this man, bear, pig thing?
Because when I don't know what something is,
just let it happen.
When I don't know what something is, it's just a man, bear, pig. Because it's all the things.
I see
She's
it
super cereal, right?
And the Paragon,
Appreciate that.
the important Paragon item is the Amber Arden Moth mount, which is just a different color moth, butterfly, man, bear, pig thing.
Sounds so basic.
But they're cute. Like, I totally can picture little monks, like, on these butterfly, moth, bear.
I want to see a Torn on it. That'd be hilarious.
Or a panda. But they're cute, and it looks like it should. You heard us mention the Venari earlier. So that is in the Maw. It's, him, her, them, us, we.
Venari loves himself. It's okay.
The broker that has a really cool voice. I I did say the Maw, right?
Yeah.
Your focus is earning the currency, which is Stygia. Is it Stygia? Because
It's Stygia.
Stygia. But why does
That's
it have...
what Venari says.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
So you earn that with Maw content, dailies, killing elites and rares. Fun fact. If you die in the Maw, 20% of your Stygia, poof, goes to repave the road in the Maw. So be mindful. If you are in war mode, you're my hero, just so I'm clear. But be mindful that you're gonna.
For every druid that I see in the Maw, a child cries.
The way that this rep goes, the rep is different. You have dubious, apprehensive, tentative, ambivalent, and cordial. It's basically neutral. One for one.
Neutral, above neutral, good, above good. It's got a lot of stages to it.
Progressive.
Oh yeah, and the appreciative. I don't know if you can see your bottom of your page.
Well, the appreciative is basically exalted, right?
Yeah.
So that should be pretty fun. I am going to be really excited to interact with Venari because I enjoyed listening to Venari talk. It was actually really relaxing. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. The Avowed, which it's in Revendreth, but it's kind of a...
It's a sub...
It's like a sub...
group of the Court of Harvesters. There are people that are loyal to the Accuser, but yeah, they're...
Yeah, Halls of Atonement. The profession recipes, the only one that's really important is if you're an alchemist. The transmuting the Shadestone. So if you are an alchemist, you're gonna wanna do that. The mount is the Inquisition Gargon. Listen.
What is it? What is
it? Literally looks like a man bear pig. When I was going to type it in, I go, "Oh my god, this one's actually a man bear pig." It literally is a man bear pig.
If they could name one Archer Gargon, Leader the Gorgonites, that'd be cool.
I did type Gorgonites twice, just so we're clear. And the other one that I want to mention, it's Gorgon from Another Time. I really love year one. I really love Jack Black. Anyway, that's beside the point. So, Court of Night is Night Fae Covenant specific reputation. So you can't get this reputation unless your Covenant is Night Fae. The mounts are the Umbral Scythehorn. It just looks like an ugly ass fucking bug, if you ask me. Just because
it's the gorms that you see.
Just because you put some fancy glitter and put some shinies on it, it does not make it a Night Fae. I guess it does make it a Night Fae themed scarab, essentially. It's just a prettier version. And then the Winterborn Rune Stag, which is actually beautiful. It's just a shiny, pretty, glittery horse stag thing that is just gorgeous. It's a horse, so of course I'm going to love it. You have to know I'm going to love it.
It's a stag.
Keep in mind that these things have nothing to do with your Covenant progression, right? Your renowned situation with you progressing through your Covenant. One does not equal the other for these things. That's an important item. If you, like me, just did the campaign quests in the zones, you're going to want to go back and do side quests, right? Because I chose to just do the campaign stuff because I do want to get started on my Covenant things. But I also want to go back and do a lot of that side stuff so I could see additional stuff on how what these zones have been through in the last however much time they're telling the story. So make sure that you do that. And, you know, the reputations for these are only important. Cooking was the other one. Which one had 2 inscriptions? Because it just came to me. This is how you know you're getting old, guys. Court of Harvesters. Inscription, jewel crafting, and I believe cooking. It's weird how
if you inscribed it somewhere, you would have remembered.
I know, right? We're going to take a look at professions next episode. The main reason for that is professions is something that if I personally am going to talk about them, I need to see what it looks like in application and not just reading stuff.
The owner's manual.
And it's important, especially when you guys are going to do your alts and stuff like that, and you want to know what professions are. We say this every time, like professions is one of those things where you kind of pick what's gonna match your, you know, your gameplay and your class as much as you can. But we'll go into profession and some profession things. I do. Where did I put it? I wrote it somewhere so I wouldn't forget it.
Because you forgot to describe it.
I did forget to describe it. There is an item. Motherfucker. Guys, I had it on the notes, I swear. Ah, here it is. It's Venari. Reaching appreciative, which is exalted. You can purchase the Spatial Realignment Apparatus. Costs 7,200 Stija. It allows you to add a socket to items that do not have a socket. Helms, neck, bracers, belt, rings. So, you're gonna want... Doesn't matter what content you do. If you're a raider, PvPer, or whatever, like, everyone loves a socket. Even the jailer who needs something put in his socket. But everyone loves a socket. So...
Yeah, his is unsocketed, so he's kind of mad.
Right.
Not prepared for raid.
So my assumption
Just gonna
is...
put the spell pen on.
Everybody's going to want, you know, to be doing... And I'm assuming that's why they attached it to the Venari, because I think they want people to go through that. And, you know, the mod's not going to be easy, especially...
By the way, Venari is singular. That's not a group.
Right, it's the one,
She's
it's
on
the
her-
broker. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have the cartel, I think it's Cartel Ata or something like that. But they're actually looking for Venari. Venari is kind of her own little bubble at the moment.
Yeah.
But you just kept on saying the Venari like the Google, so I was like, what?
I don't know why I was saying the... It probably was the Google. Probably
Well, 'cause
was
it's like a...
the Walmart.
It's like the...
Well,
'cause it looks like it's a reputation, so it's natural for us to be like the Quarter of Night or... I'm just making sure you knew that.
No,
they were
yeah,
all
no, I
separate.
knew. Actually, the whole thing we went through in the mod with Venari to start was probably the only thing I paid attention to that entire evening. So we're clear. I'm just kidding, guys. So that's kind of like the super really important stuff that I felt like needed to mention was the reputation, only because it's really easy when you hit max level to kind of forget about your reputations, especially if you if you're a crafter or just a completionist in general. It's really easy to kind of forget about that kind of stuff, especially when you start doing the covenants thing. It's also really important at the beginning of an expansion to not be overwhelmed and not feel overwhelmed. I personally, when I feel super overwhelmed, I completely shut the fuck down and I don't do anything. I just sit in my garrison, and that's what I do until things start making sense. True. But I have, in between the leveling, I have been reading through all the guides so that when I hit this stuff, I know exactly what I'm doing, or at least in theory, minus the stuff that I did. I did some beginning covenant stuff in beta. I didn't really do a lot of beta.
I've been seeing a lot of people say like, oh, there's too much stuff. I keep on mentioning it in and out of everywhere. It's just, there's a lot of stuff, but a lot of it isn't mandatory right now. Like, you don't have to feel overwhelmed. Just pick apart what you want to do or what you want to focus on, and do that. Nothing's gonna stop you from playing the way that you want.
And here's what makes that even better. You won't run out of stuff to do if you pace yourself appropriately. And don't try to do everything. Go in the order of what's priority to you. Because that's really what matters. To me, getting max level ASAP was not priority to me. I just didn't give a shit. Just don't care what is waiting on the other side. I want to enjoy what I'm looking at. And then I want to do my covenants. I do want my covenants, so it was one of those things where I had to like, gonna be okay if you don't have it right this minute. And yes, all these people are getting stuff and they're talking about how cool things are. It's gonna be okay. And it's okay if you don't do everything. It's okay if you don't want to do your adventure table right now. It's okay if you want to just do some covenant stuff, but you don't want to go focus on reputations or whatever. It's okay if you just want to go pick herbs and mine and take advantage of the fact that you can make a shit ton of gold right now.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of adventure table too, what throws me off now is, well, one, we had add-ons that just like click this and
it auto
sends
did
out
it
100%, but there's no percentage showing you how good a chance you have.
It's like Rochambeau.
You kind of have to look at the damage and the health of what the objectives. I failed more in the past couple of days on those than I have ever in BFA and Legion combined. I was like, how did I lose this? What is going on?
I'm also just about to be 59, and I'm just barely replaced 2 pieces of gear.
I know if you did like decent gearing in PvP or raids, it'll last you like 58, 59 easy.
I still haven't replaced the necklace, but I appreciate that because
there's a quest that will replace it.
Everybody, and I said this to even my husband when he was like stressed out about trying to gear at the end of the expansion. I'm like, we're literally getting ready to hit another expansion. Why the fuck are you crying about gear? Like 5 quests in, you're gonna get a full set. Quit crying about it.
Well,
I appreciated that wasn't true.
It just helps.
But I appreciated that wasn't true. I appreciated that the hard work and very little effort I did at the very end of the expansion, but when we were still raiding, there was work, and I still chucked my ass through the horrible Mythic Pluses. At least my 1 a week. I didn't just rely on mass gear from Visions to raid.
I mean, it was more of a you logged on and we invited you and go where we're going.
We just needed a body.
But I log on knowing that that's what's going to happen. And most of the time it was not a secret login. Either Alex texted or Gabe texted and said, hey, whatever. But the most horrible raider in the world who fucking hates raiding made sure I did my requirements as a raider every fucking week. I think I missed maybe 1 or 2 throughout all of the raid stuff. Every week I did my minimum Mythic Plus as per the requirement, and I didn't just rely on Visions and level masks to
That's the best skin of the gear, or was actually.
Make sure I was geared properly. I did my due diligence. So, with that being said, guys, I really want to get max level because I really want a PvP, and I want a PvP good PvP. I want to see what this world looks like because the jury's still out for me. Like, I could love your content all day long. I could love the story you're telling. I could love the cinematics, and I could thoroughly enjoy what I'm going through in this process. None of this for me is going to matter if what I love to do in game isn't going to be fun.
Yeah, I feel those sentiments. Yeah.
But I'm enjoying being in war mode. I got to be honest about that. Even when I get slaughtered because I'm singly running down the road and here comes 20 in the opposite direction, those are things that to me will make me a better reactor because I'm getting old in my old age and my reaction time is not what it used to be. You know, so.
Are you plutonium?
But
it is not bad for gearing right now, and it is the most. And I know you three and most of the audience probably knows I absolutely cannot stand or haven't been able to stand PvP in a while, and this is the most I've enjoyed it since Warlords.
I miss.
Warlords was good for PvP.
Yes, it was.
Well, I wouldn't say good.
Well, for my class, it was.
I would say better compared to. Miss to me is always going to be the golden age of PvP, in my opinion.
It's almost like PvP power was okay.
But you know, we'll see what we got rocking. I'm excited, actually, but terrified at the same time. So, with that, let's end the show the way that we used to, which is our week in WoW. So, Rem, what did you do this week in WoW?
Well, I played Shadowlands.
You did?
I don't know if you heard, but it launched.
What?
And I did this one thing in this one zone, and it was so cool. No, okay, so how you said don't worry about doing everything. I have ADD, so obviously I've been doing literally everything. But I leveled the priest, and I've been gearing it and doing the story, doing all the callings. I can't, like I said earlier, I don't know how the mission table works. One day I will learn, but that day is not today. And I started deciding on what I'm going to level next, and I'm leveling another little tune, and even I feel like I'm pacing myself, but I'm ahead of people. It's kind of.
I see zero pacing in your situation whatsoever.
Are you kidding? I didn't log on at all till like 2:00 today.
We log in launch night. All these motherfuckers are already fucking 5 zones ahead of me and are already almost leveled. And I was like, wow, it must be really nice to have friends that fucking wait for you. But I did have one singular friend who waited for me, and that's Julio. And he waited, and we've been doing the damn thing since launch. And every day we've been doing the things.
I'm sorry, but if I wasn't 60 today, I would cry.
See, to some people, friendship is more important. But that's okay. I'm not bitter. And the reason I'm not bitter is because I'm having a good time.
Enjoying yourself.
Well, yeah, and I'm just, if you're having a good time, it makes people matter less. There's no nice way to put that. That's not what I meant. It sounds way worse than what it is.
All right, wrap it up. We don't give. We don't care.
I just mean it doesn't sting as much, right? Because it's like going into a party and the party being amazing, but you're still a little mad your friend didn't go. But if the party is shit, you're pissed off at your friend for like 6 months. It's just anyway.
I don't level well with anybody, so it's not just.
I'm really okay.
I know then they're all pissed off at you because they feel alienated and they end up playing Classic instead.
I truly
fuck that guy in particular.
For real right now.
I don't really need anyone to level with
tiny dog too.
I don't really need anyone to level with in general anyway, but me being in war mode and because I took my time, I knew it was going to be Maldraxxus is what I was worried about, but Julio rolled back his he party synced with me so that because I think he did some stuff when I was doing Thanksgiving, but Maldraxxus was scary. I'm not gonna lie, that was horrifying.
Envy.
I didn't forget his name.
You're just spacing out for a second.
It's my job to space out.
Right. What did you do this weekend, Mal?
I spaced out. Believe it or not, I just hit 60 yesterday.
What do you mean? I thought you've been 60.
No, I hit 60 yesterday.
Hasn't.
See, on launch day, I didn't log on until about 8. No, it's not true. 5 p.m. Mountain, which was about an hour after launch. And then I went away. And then work sucked. And then I
went away
back.
like you went to the big house, or you went to college for 9, or you went away to your aunt's house for 9 months? Like what?
That would have been better, to be honest. But no, just I guess work is a prison. Yeah. Anyways, director life. I just hit 60 yesterday, and it's me and Alex actually who just hit 60 yesterday. We leveled together because we were exactly, to your point, in war mode, and it sucks playing solo and getting your ass ringed by a mage or a druid for several hours. But we made it work. We did some dungeons, just trying to gear ourselves, but also trying to get caught up. Just your typical level and play the game bullshit.
Good times, though.
But I do want to say there was a point that I did feel very rushed. Like I need to get to 60, and at some point I just threw it out the window. Well, at the beginning of like the expansion pack, right, when you're in Bastion and everything, I was skipping through a lot of stuff because I saw a lot of stuff already, right? Maldraxxus and Reverend Wrath. And then there are cutscenes that you've never seen because it came with the expansion pack. I was purposely skipping that.
Yeah.
I was purposely skipping that because I wanted to get the 60 as fast as possible. Namely because you cruel sons of bitches, Ram, Cactu, Eve, assholes.
See, that's the thing. I still enjoyed the story while leveling perfectly. The pacing wasn't like strenuous. I don't remember when I got 60. I think it was late Tuesday. No, it was Wednesday.
Late Wednesday. I know. I'm just talking shit, but
Rab's not a director.
Like,
NB, he doesn't understand the shit we go through, my guy.
I don't know. There's rating isn't out for another 2 weeks, right? So why am I forcing myself to like get to 60? That's gonna happen regardless. I'm gonna get geared and whatnot. I should just enjoy the story for what it is. And I started that around Arden Wheel. That's probably why I'm like, I love that song, because I'm paying attention. Don't make my mistake, guys. Enjoy the story.
I
Heaven forbid, the Blizzard makes you play the game from start to finish so you can enjoy the story. Not have to like, you need to unlock the zone before you can do the goddamn dungeon.
I'm unsure what just happened, but I appreciate it.
I know exactly what he's talking about, but I agree with him.
I think that was really, and when I say, like, okay, it's Saturday and I'm still not maxed out, keep in mind 2 of those days I was cooking in the kitchen. There was only one cook in the kitchen, and I was it.
Well, that's because no one can cook in your kitchen.
So 2 of those days was because I was cooking. I probably would already be maxed out if those 2 days hasn't happened. But I've been steadily pacing, I think, a zone a night is what it's been working itself out to. Because we haven't been getting on until the kids go to bed. Just because if I try to do anything before, well, they're all in Zoom. They know what happens. They never leave me alone, ever. Ever. Even when they sleep.
We just witnessed it all live on show, too.
Right. Yes, that 100%. So I probably would have been maxed out already if Thanksgiving hadn't been a thing.
It wasn't, I wasn't saying that anything bad. It was just, especially with Thanksgiving. But my stomach thanks you.
I killed it.
Evidently, I had a great Thanksgiving. I don't know. I don't remember most of it.
I killed it this year. I did not screw up one thing. Normally I make little dumb rookie mistakes because I'm overtired or because I'm rushing. Everything was on point. I was extremely happy. Anyway, Brew, what did you do this week in WoW?
So for launch, my brother, one of his RL friends, and then 2 of our friends, like we all had like our little 5-man group. We went in war mode, and as soon as it launched, all of us were ready to go. We had speed pots, goblin gliders, gun shoes. We had the whole 9 yards. So we got to 60 in about 8 hours after expansion launch.
Oh, all right.
And you're talking about Envy and I rushing. Bruce over here, he got in the first run of it.
But you played 8 hours continuously?
Yep, all 5 of us.
I haven't been able to do that since Warlords.
Yeah,
no, I could in Legion a little bit.
Man. Christ-like. I'm kidding. Sorry. Go ahead.
I played like 11 hours straight the first night and then 11 and a half hours the next night.
I miss my daughters not being adults and my life not as a director. That was my life, though. My life is I could play 8 solid hours in WoW without even blinking, and it didn't feel like an hour. I don't, to me, I'm lucky if I get last night, Julio, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we leveled till 2, and I didn't I think we only intended to go till midnight, but we were just fucking chucking right along, and I think that's the longest duration I've ever had uninterrupted by anyone in my house.
Tuesday was my Torghast and Renown day. I got all
good.
10 of my Soul Ash, I got to Renown 3 on Tuesday, and then since then it's just been PvP, Heroics, and Mythic. I've already done my set of Mythic Heroes on my Monk, and tonight I'm probably going to be finishing. My Demon Hunter is already level 58, and getting him to 60 tonight for another set of Mythic Zero World Tours tomorrow.
So I'm not alone in the I want to level alts a few. I at least want to level 1 for every Covenant after I max Bell out. I'm not alone in that, right? I'm not the only weirdo that wants to do it. Not, I don't want to say like the day after I max Bell out, but I feel like I really am interested in those Covenants enough to want to level, to find that out. Am I the only one?
Yeah, so unfortunately, the second tune that I'm thinking of leveling is the same Venthyr for the best one, because for that one I'm just kind of like whatever. But yeah, I do plan on leveling alts for just the Covenant stories alone, just because they do have story and questing tied to them, either through the Renown or just the way they interact with dungeons is kind of unique too. Because there was a quest I did for Venthyr in Sanguine Depths that was like, it was just unique because no one else had that exact quest.
I'd like to go through an expansion having all the different pieces at the beginning versus figuring it out, right? Like, 'cause normally you do your alt stuff after you've done a fair amount of stuff on your main and you're kind of at a blocking point. Maybe you're in between a raid tier or a PvP season, but I feel like I kind of want that kind of at the very beginning, like a full picture type of deal. Is that weird or?
No, I mean with the pacing that they're doing for gearing and just everything in general, I think having an alt is going to be a lot more doable at any time, instead of, like you said, when there's like a block or I have to level this for something else or what have you.
Because I love having my main, right? And Belle, she's always be my main focus, but I think part of why I got so annoyed in BFA is that it was always to-do list, not fun things, right? But a to-do list of shit that you have to do.
Well, it was like, for instance, in Mists of Pandaria, it was just chores, and chores. Every expansion's had some type of chore, but this is the first time it hasn't
so much
been
PvP that the chores didn't. I guess maybe because my focus was
so
much on raiding during BFA.
Craft, like,
maybe that was the difference, right? Because
MOP was World of Daily Craft. I did a lot of stuff in early side of MOP.
Yeah, there was a lot of dailies. But maybe that's the difference. Maybe because I was so forced into the raid only path without any other in between options. That was just that it was either that content or you weren't going to have shit to do. And then when you were in between tiers, you really had nothing to do. I think maybe that's the difference, and that might be why I'm like, but there's all this other stuff that I can do, and because there isn't I don't have to have a necklace with all the stuff unlocked in order to be able to be a viable in
you don't have to get a cloak to even do the raid.
Yeah, so I think that going into it already lifted a lot off players' shoulders, without us realizing that was, and that might even be your case, Envy, where you are so used to having all these things that you have to have done in order to be able to do the things and stuff and junk that of course there's still important factors that you need, but it isn't as race to the finish before we even started.
Like I said, there's plenty of but it's not like stressing you out to do everything because you don't have to this go around.
And what do we do
eventually eventually we will get to that point, but for now it's not even really worth worrying about.
Do you think we'll get to that point?
You're gonna, if you know your content, you know what content you're gonna want to do, you're gonna look for every possible min-max, and it's inevitable. You're gonna look at what's more efficient for you to do as a raider versus as a PvPer.
Yeah.
How do you want to spend your time?
I don't think it's gonna be like your life is over if you miss a day, which is.
Definitely not with like the renown system, right? Where there's something that's weekly capped versus it's 2,500
Yeah.
AP
Well,
on
that's
the board
gonna-
versus 1,800.
Right.
But
It kind of save you from yourself in that regard a little bit, where it
Yeah.
forces you in a box so that you don't feel like you always have to go outside of the box to be efficient or to, you know.
Yeah.
you're still gonna have your list. You're still gonna have your priorities. I
Oh,
think
you're still always gonna have a list to do, but it's not like
Not a
it's
second
forced
job.
on you to do it all.
yeah, it's not like I have to do this all like today or I have like 3 days. It's like you have that whole week to just
Or you know it's going to be
relax and
painful
do it.
because you didn't do one
Well,
thing
I
on
like-
your list, right? And you know you're going to not suffer as much. I think that's
What I like.
what was
Yeah.
really the... You know how when you have a lot to do and then you just lay there and watch TV for like 3 hours because you don't know where to start? And so you just
Yeah.
say, I ain't doing shit. I'm just going to fucking lay here and watch TV and I'm going to take a nap. And then you wake up 8 hours later, nothing on your to-do list got done and you feel perfectly fine that nothing on your to-do list got done. I think that's what was I don't really know if I'm just guessing at what feels different.
Like, we don't know what they're gonna do for like the first
True.
major patch or
True.
for in between stuff. Because I like the potential of covenants because it gives an avenue for them to add something for us to do in between stuff.
I agree. Where there's additional story that's thrown in there to give you something to do or an additional
Yeah.
perks and things. I think wholeheartedly, I think they're off to a good start. I'm not saying everything's perfect and I'm not saying everything's amazing, but I think they're off to a really good start. I got to be really honest.
From what I've seen on like Twitter or Twitch or different places is people are enjoying themselves more than they expected because coming out of BFA, even though I had fun because I was playing with friends, raiding and all that, it definitely wasn't the heyday. And coming into Shadowlands, it's
BFA was fun in the beginning. It was great in the beginning, but there wasn't anything sustainable, which is the same problem in Warlords. Warlords was amazing out of the box. Okay, the launch was not great. You were stuck in the air for 9 hours. The launch wasn't great, but the leveling is the best I've ever leveled in WoD. I really love the Warlords story in general. I truly loved it. I believe it was also their first approach to that style of their little
go anywhere.
Little video shorts.
You know
what I'm talking about? The Warlord video shorts. I think that was their first approach at that style.
Where someone pops up and it's like and it shows their name and stuff.
Which was really great, but it peaked too soon. Essentially. And then you went the rest of the expansion, you blew your whole load. Even though with BFA there was the evergreen, it really wasn't evergreen. Let's be honest about this. I think we can all agree it wasn't evergreen. This was not evergreen. It was an attempt at evergreen. Legion did a really good job of that. But it
had a lot of green in it.
It was like ever teal, I would call it.
Ever cyan.
Ever light green. But it was not.
But that's just a light blue.
Right. It just wasn't. It wasn't consistently throughout the entire, from start to finish, which I don't think they're ever going to do that. I don't think there's ever going to be a moment where it's consistently relevant.
Yeah, there's always going to be a lull either between patches or end of X-Back. It's inevitable.
And I think that's okay. I think it's okay that that's a thing. I think I have made myself okay with that and kind of look forward to that actually, because it's a nice break. If you've been doing raiding or PvP or whatever you've been doing, it's nice to not have to accept the raid invite when you log in. Because it's just whatever their casual runs are on Saturdays or Sundays.
Just accept the one after we get heroic on fire.
It's nice to log in and go, nope, not accepting. I'm just going to do the things I want to do, which is code for my auctions. So,
AKA making bags in your garrison.
Right. I kind of already mentioned a little bit of what I did throughout the week, which was I just did enjoying myself, thoroughly enjoying myself.
What a concept.
And it's been really nice. It's been... My husband doesn't seem like he's enjoying himself, which is kind of weird.
That's in-game or...
Just... in-game dick.
Oh.
He doesn't like questing. He's like, I hate questing.
What add-on is that?
I think he just met Shaw.
He said, I hate questing. What do you mean you hate questing? That's like... Why are you here? Questing is a part of the game. I don't understand what you're saying to me.
Even when you're max level, you're still doing.
And I tried to wait for him, and we'll talk about the chicken wings another time.
I was out on the patio with him when I was laughing about that. I was telling him.
Okay. We'll tell the story and then I'll roll credits. Guys, I'm trying to be a good wife. I'm waiting. Now, there's a ton of us in Zoom. I'm waiting because I'm going to be a good wife. I'm going to level with my husband. I don't know what the fuck he's at, what he's doing. He comes back upstairs and I'm like, great, we can go. And I'm not the only one that's waiting. Julio was also waiting. So he says, let me eat my chicken wings real quick. Okay, cool. I'm thinking when I eat chicken wings, we're talking 3.5, maybe 4 minutes tops, and I can kill an entire 16 piece without much effort. He's leaned back, he's got his foot up on the desk, and he's got these wings, and he is just spending 10 minutes on each one. And he's licking his fingers. He's rotating the chicken and licking his fingers, rotating the chicken, licking his fingers, and he is literally taking 5 minutes per chicken wing. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, he's not really doing that. I'm about to overreact. So I give it a little bit more time, and he puts that down and licks all his fingers individually and picks up his napkin, and I'm not even exaggerating. These guys were on here with me, and he's cleaning it off and gets a drink and makes weird, he is a noisy eater, and I have that thing where sounds when people are eating make me crazy. Picks up another wing. We're like, at this point, 30 to 45 minutes in to what should have been easily a minute per wing at most. Slowly eating again. Oh. And he's licking all his fingers in between. I'm not joking you. And finally I said, what the fuck? How long does it take you to eat chicken wings? It's 45 minutes. And we're all just watching you like you're fucking judging the chicken wings. You're at a chicken wing judging contest and you gotta write down every taste node you're getting. And do you have to lick your fingers, all of them, every time you take a bite? Like, at least 45 minutes. I'm sure it was longer than that. And Julio and I finally said, I'm done with this and we're just going to go level. And I'm going to let you sit. We're leveling. Beyond this meltdown I'm having in Zoom of him just eating these chicken wings like it's his last fucking meal, right? Like he's getting executed in the morning and this is his last meal. Even as Julio and I are finishing chapters, he's still eating the chicken wings, guys. It wasn't a whole mountain of them, by the way. I think it was like 20. And I don't even think he ate them all. They weren't larger than normal chicken wings. They didn't have more meat than usual. They were chicken wings from the restaurant my daughter works at.
Are you going to say the best part, though?
I'm going to let you say it, Rem.
So after he's done eating the chicken wings, he's like, I think I'm going to go to bed now. It was, I mean, from the outside it's a lot funnier, but yeah. I mean, Belle was, yeah.
It's the principle.
And I thought, I ate my food while prepping things to do the leveling. I'm cleaning bags and I'm doing shit and I'm shoving food in my face. that, granted, it wasn't chicken wings. It was braised short ribs and mashed potatoes. So it was a little easier. Like, I chose my food at the computer a little bit more smart than he did. But guys, when I tell you that this occurred, it's not an exaggeration. It really happened. And yes, he did, in fact, say he was going to bed. Now, it's important to note that I love my husband, and my husband puts up with more of my shit than anyone else on this planet. And I am a whole ball of crazy, and I know that I am. So understand that I realize that the things I have to put up with my Ginger, he's got to put up with the same with me. So we're on equal footing, but I got to fucking tell you, I wanted to literally murder him. Murder, strangle, just... And
Yeah,
it
the
didn't...
eating the chicken wings part was funny, and then the going to bed is just hysterical.
And it didn't even occur to him. The whole time he's eating the chicken wings, he had no sense of hurry or sense of giving a shit about anybody else's time. Nothing. Just... Like, what I like about leveling with Julio is Julio and I usually want a snack at the same exact time. After we've been doing things for a bit, we always know when it's snack time, when it's either time to get chips or time to get something. That's what's great about leveling with him, is because me and him are on the same snack time wavelength. So him and I don't even really need to communicate. We just both know we're going to get up and either get chips or something else. But this Ginger and his goddamn chicken wings. And I tell you what, the first time he tries to ask me to have my daughter bring home chicken wings...
About it.
You know what?
Why are you always eating chicken wings?
I still got your address. You guys hungry?
To be fair, though, and Envy, I don't think you got to have them. The Verado Grill wings are on a whole other level of amazing. So, like, if it's your first time eating the chicken wings, I can understand you taking an hour to eat them. They are... And it's, I can't even describe the flavor, but it isn't your standard buffalo. It's just delicious. But Eve, you literally live here across the way where the wings can be procured. But next time you come out here, we'll have to, you'll really, if you're into wings. No,
oh, God.
I mean, yeah, like... No, I can't. So that's the chicken wing story.
You know, the chicken wings at Sizzler is pretty awesome. Hey,
do people still go to Sizzler?
remember the last visit? Me and my wife said we were gonna go to Arizona or Phoenix for a bit.
Did you guys go to Sizzler?
We did.
Are they still around?
They still are.
I remember when
Yeah,
Sizzler used to be the place, you know, when it was a normal restaurant where it wasn't like a...
There's
Well,
a
it's not
couple
the Ponderosa, but you know.
There's a couple in Peoria.
Well... you're gonna get me talking about steak. I can't. Okay, so, guys, we're gonna end show here. I have a mini pie that is calling my name.
Oh my.
And leveling to get done. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode today. There was some information given.
Various.
Homework. Not just for you guys, but everyone. But yes, you guys also.
Gross homework.
Find things that go in the jailer's gaping hole.
I mean...
And you can't just find random things around...
Oh, I was gonna say this.
Azeroth, like, there has to be a method to the madness and a reasoning and a what for and a who's it, what's it. And no snakes or sparklers.
I think so, Brain, but I don't think I can say that on TV.
Anything else I'm forgetting, gentlemen? Any call-outs you guys wanted to make while we're rolling the credits?
Hey Blizzard, if you're watching, figure out account migration from the EU to US. That'd be great, thanks.
That's fair.
Maybe
I hope
they
Raider
just.
IO does more Mythic Plus challenges or brackets.
Or you just had a
E-girl
gross word for
bathwater.
Bill.
Happy
E-girl
birthday!
bathwater.
Happy birthday. Early birthday.
Early birth or birth.
I had a stroke right there, dude. I'm also
Early
on
birth?
Gorilla Glue. You know this.
Really?
Gorilla Glue
You should
before
have a bottle of Stella. I have 9 of them. Would you like one of mine?
She really does.
Oh. Yeah, sure.
The middle drawer in the fridge, all Stella, different colors. My fridge up here, Stella, all the colors.
You drink with all the colors of the wind.
I do. Oh, well, the note Stella. Well,
Duels. There you go.
Duels rules.
Stella has a non-alcoholic.
Don't say that.
No, the sparkling cider. That's a good one. Little fake champagne. Tastes like, what do they have? Apple and grape or something other.
They have all kinds. I buy it every year for Thanksgiving. It's a tradition. All right. Well, guys, that's about all we have for today. We're going to get on out of here because it's mini pie time. And we like mini pies. And, yeah, that's,
Well, Greta likes shoes and cords, so.
Well, Greta
And
does.
the PlayStation 5 controller, too.
What do you mean?
No. The
Okay,
controller?
listen, speaking of, I was online when the shit was on sale at Walmart, and we're talking like fraction of a second. Nothing.
Nothing. Good
Nada.
day, sir.
I'm gonna be the worst. I'm gonna be the worst Santa ever. Literally, the worst Santa ever.
I'll mail you, Greta.
I should have mailed mini pies to you, Angie. I don't know why I didn't. That would have been a good idea.
I'll mail this
Pecan-
bug to Angie.
Why
Pecan
didn't
pie
you tell
doesn't
me?
travel well.
I could have probably froze it though.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I should have totally.
Freeze packed it.
How about a pug?
You don't
Angie?
understand, Angie.
It's a
her
religious experience.
machinations of pie is good.
It's a religious experience.
That's actually what someone said. I let them have one of the French silk pie.
You shared the French
Yeah.
silk, which one would argue is the best of all the pies. When you say someone, you stopped yourself before you said a name. Who was the someone?
Or just my roommate.
Oh.
And we called it a religious experience.
Oh God! Oh God! Oh.
It was pretty
No.
great.
No.
And my daughter's boyfriend came over, and my daughter says he's never had white people food. I'm not really sure what that means.
Neither have I.
But I don't really know what that means because I don't know that everything I cooked is specific to white people food. I think it's just food in general.
He's white though.
I am going, so you know what I'm going to do, Angie, is the next time I make my French silk pie, I am going to freeze it. And I'll do it while it's winter so that it travels well.
Only send her the French chocolate pudding one though.
Winter in Arizona, though. How's
Well,
that work?
I
mean,
think
it got 45. the
it'll
other
be
morning.
more winter where she's at, but I think, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's ever wanted to mail a pie.
What if the FedEx driver loses the video card? I mean the pie.
Right? Is there a service that ships food?
I don't know about a specific service, but I think you can do like a overnight like stuff
Like a
with
don't
frozen
shake
stuff.
type of stuff? I'll figure that out. Not for nothing, the French silk pies I've mastered. I have mastered my French silk pies, and it was pretty delicious. But my daughter's boyfriend had never had a deviled egg, and I'm like, who are you?
Wait, he never had a deviled egg?
No, he had never had a deviled egg. So they're Indian, but I didn't ask, given Thanksgiving's history. I didn't go any further with what they do for Thanksgiving just because I felt weird. I didn't know how to proceed. And the mom buys the turkey a year in advance. There were things that were very strange to me, guys. Like, if I was with a spouse and my spouse's mother bought the turkey a year in advance, I'm going to pack my shit and get the fuck out.
Probably wear like socks and sandals too.
My in-laws bought the turkey that morning.
Yeah, like the whole fun for me is buying Tom 2 weeks. I usually buy it 2 weeks before. That's when you get the good pickings. And yes, my turkeys are named Tom.
Yeah, turkey the day of. That'd be a really small turkey, I think.
Tom
25 pounds.
Tom 1 and Tom 2. And Tom 1 is for guests. Tom 2 is don't touch it.
By the way, Tom 1's leg was really good for lunch today.
Wasn't that? I gave Rem 2 big turkey drumsticks and was like, here, it's like the Renaissance Fair. Take these home. Angie, I'm going to figure out a way to send you the pie. She would really love the French silk pie.
Anyone would like those.
Yeah. Yeah, she would really love it. Then there was a debacle with the whipped cream. That was a tragedy. But that's about it, guys. We're really going to get out of here. Now that we have...
overstayed our welcome.
We have overstayed our... We are the relatives that won't leave.
What is that like, Heath?
That was a sick burn. Guys, we love you. We're getting out of here. Somewhere.
Leechers on the men, Jay.
Peace out.